I try to be as, I'll try to focus on, yeah, good morning, Jimmy. I'll try to really focus on the topic where it is the important side. And I'll definitely promise you I won't go 2 hours. I'll just make sure I'll finish it in 1 hour. You know, when you come for my training, it's always like, it's going to be 2 hours. My goodness. Benny is very long-winded. So yeah, so that is something that you definitely, today is not going to be that. Okay, I'm just going to focus on a few things. I know there's a few names that is quite new to me, and definitely what we're going to do is like I'm going to touch a little bit of the facilities just to give them an update on what we have and what we do in the market. And then after that, I'll go straight into the product, which is what is exciting that is coming out with all the launching, when we have all this scholarship that's been launched just 2 days ago. It's so excited for the whole Southeast Asia or South Asia, or even the North Asia, part of North Asia. So those who are coming from the other part of Taiwan and Hong Kong, I think you enjoy the scholarship as well. So it's an exciting year ahead of us, and with all the borders opening up, I think that is a fantastic news to combine together and to achieve what we can achieve. And we have been pending and waiting for so long. Okay, I'm not going to wait anymore, and I'll just get onto it. Okay, let me do this. Siska, I'll just put you as the co-host, and if possible, can you just admit those people who are just coming in late? Yep.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Okay, so for those who are joining us, today I don't mute your mic. So if let's say you have anything that you want to voice out, anything that you want to stop me in between, just shoot the question, and definitely we'll get into that. And yes, UTS basically has been there for so long, and all of us know that it's actually born in 1988. So it's a very good name, and definitely it's a very good year for a lot of people in the market here. So in Cantonese people say "ya gao fa fat" ma. So it's like it's a very good name. It's like fat fat. It's like everything is good, you know. So yeah, and talking about UTS, we basically covered a lot of areas of study areas, except for medical degree. So we do have from architecture, built environment, business, communication, and you just name it. We have most of them, and we have like 150 undergraduate and 240 postgraduate programs. But today, I'm not going to touch every single one of them. If I touch every single one of them, I think I'll have a whole day session with you. So I'm going to touch just maybe 2 faculty or maximum 3 faculties with all the new excited programs that they are here in the market. And what I'm going to look at is today is I'm just going to brief through, because I saw there's a few new people in the group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a little bit of this particular slide. And if you look at this slide, basically that's where UTS is located. And a lot of people say, are you sure this is UTS? Where's the campus? Well, first thing, I'm not going to talk about the campus. I'm going to talk about the environment first. So when I look at this particular slide, I have Darling Harbour here. You see this white color shadow here? This is basically the Opera House in the miniature. And this is Harbour Bridge. So you basically can see it actually next to each other. So, and this is the CBD, the Central Business District. And if you look at this basically, it is the Sydney Tower. So when you look at all this, you know that you are in the city center. And being said so, Sydney has been always the head of, everybody think of Australia, everybody think of Sydney. And if you know that you are here, that means you are very close to UTS. So what happened here is that UTS actually covered from this corner all the way up here, all the way up to this corner, and then come back to this area. So when you look at it, wow, UTS actually is part of the city. So, and a lot of people started thinking the next question, it's going to be expensive, right? No, not really, okay? And if you look at it, a lot of people say that accommodation, how? What about accommodation? Honestly, if you look at the geographical situation, you actually see these 2 buildings actually is Urban Nest, Darling House, and Darling Square. And then there's an Urban Nest Key Street, then UTS accommodation. Then here there is Igloo. This whole stretch here is Igloo. Here is Uni Lodge. There's a UTS accommodation here. This is Urban Nest Water Street. There's another UTS accommodation here. Walk down this street another few minutes. There's another UTS accommodation here. And the most important is like shopping, shopping, shopping. And you basically can get Uni Lodge here. You can get Coal here, the Woolly here. And you basically surrounding UTS, there's about 4 to 5 places that you can actually get your grocery. So as a student, everything is walking distance. So it's very, very convenient for you. And just right behind this bush, it is basically the central train station. So for those who have not been to Sydney yet due to COVID-19 and everybody locked down and you want to feel that you are there, this photo itself tells you everything that we are part of the city and you can just walk to anywhere that you want to. And the most important is actually, if you look at condition of, if you are looking at part-time job, if you are looking at getting your food, you are looking at walking to the campus, it's all within the 5-minute reach on areas. So it is very, very, very convenient. So I'm not going to spend more time on this. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the building and the facilities, and then I'll jump to the program, okay? So these are some of the cheese-graded building, the UFO, the ugly tower, and you know it, UTS has all the nickname for every single building that we have. So UTS, I always joke with the students, so you can also send the same message that everybody knows about. UTS stands for what? University of Technology Sydney. It can also be called the ugliest tower of Sydney. So this is basically the ugly tower of Sydney. Yeah.
UTS though.
Yes, 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 you are in UTS now, correct. Okay, yes. So don't forget, if you have questions, just open your mic and then pop the question out. Okay, I'll get back to you. So we are very, very young. Honestly, most of us are actually older than the university. So the uni is actually only 33 years old, and we actually rank 133 in the world for 2021 and 2022. So this is something that we are very proud of. Of course, not only one ranking. And the most important that you have to remember in the ranking sector is it is consistently for the last 7 years, we have been breaking the records. For the last 7 years, has been breaking the record. And being say so, it has been ranked the #1 young university in Australia for the last 7 years. Who has that record in Australia? UTS. So that's why when you talk to students, it's not only about the group of 8. Basically, remember the group of 9. So we are actually the #9. We've been ranked #9 in Australia for the last 7 years as well. And starting from last year, starting from this year, sorry, even the time higher education already ranked UTS at 143. So not only one ranking, but it's multiple ranking having the same message that the uni is young and aggressive and very high achiever, and of course, it's world class. So when we talk about practical, UTS is champion in that sector. So since 2014, once we changed the new learning model, all our facilities have been focusing on practical learning. And being said so, you see all the classes that we have is meant for collaborative learning, collaborative discussion, teamwork, group work. And that is how students do their practical learning. A lot of people thought that practical must be only using facilities and equipment. In actual fact, it's the way of how we teach that sends the practical learning across to the students. And if you ask all your students that you have sent to UTS, they will give you the same message. It has been a lot of practical that they have gone through at UTS, especially in the discussion, especially in the problem-solving sector, where they actually use technology in areas of problem solving. They are strong in problem solving through the practical learning that they have in every single class that they attend. They're basically able to work across discipline because the amount of team that they actually work with, amount of group work that they do, they actually learn how to understand people behavior, understand who talk more, who do less, who do more, and who talk less. Everything that they can actually embed it in their human resource management. So that is something that they really do. And the most important in the industry, this is what industry tells us about UTS students. They are very, very strong in their entrepreneurial skill, and how I'm going to show it in the program later and how we actually achieve it. Okay. So looking back at the facilities is just amazing. And just yesterday, I was just reading since June, July, September, we basically have amazing subject, amazing product that has been going on in the market. And what we did was this particular facilities example and this particular facilities has been hitting the market tremendously, especially this one. This one is basically the 5G and 6G antenna chamber, or we call it the signal chamber, where we can actually test all the signal, not only in 5G, now we are looking at 6G. So currently, UTS is also in the progress of doing a few projects, but one of the project we can review, but the rest of the project we can't review at the moment. One of the project is basically a short antenna that can send very, very fast signal across to rural area, and is very cheap because the common price for an antenna is about 45,000 US dollar. But what we are planning to produce, and what we are working closely with Nokia to produce, is actually only cost roughly about USD 1,000 for that antenna, and it can send the signal as fast as 6G and 5Gs as well. So that is something that is going to be very excited in the technology telecommunication world. And this is going on tremendously well. So these are things that you're going to look out for UTS. And when you talk about to your student about engineering, about 5Gs, about technology, this is one topic that you should tell them more about data analytics, about all this area. It is just amazing. Okay. One of the areas that I'm going to touch on is flexible engineering. And flexible engineering is one area that you can actually look at. A lot of people say, going for traditional engineers. Traditional engineering, yes, it is awesomely good. But what about flexible engineering? Have you heard about this flexible engineering at UTS? If yes, you can actually put number 1 in your chat box. If no, it's fine. Don't need to put anything. So if let's say you have heard about UTS flexible engineering, yes, good. And I see someone is answering. That's great. So flexible engineering is a very unique program. It's the number 1 engineering degree that has flexibility in Australia. And what you can do is that you can combine different disciplines into one degree, and it's still recognized under the Washington Accord. So that is something that you have to look out for. Check out on our handbook and how you actually can combine the program. And because you can see in the future of the market, you can see that everything that we do is always different. When talk about engineering now, you think about hybrid car. Hybrid car have used technology in not only in automotive, not only in mechanical, but also mechatronics, also robotics, also software engineer. Imagine if, let's say, you have the skill, one person can do multiple tasks. That's your leverage. So that is why more and more people are going to choose flexible engineering as one of their criteria to go into the market. And bear in mind, it is actually recognized under the Washington Accord. Yeah, so that is something that you can look at. Another area that I want to touch is 3D printing. 3D printing is going to be very, very, very vast in the whole market, starting from now, honestly. In UTS, we invest multi-million dollars of 3D printing facilities from as big as me, okay? You can print food, you can print a nano chip, you can print basically almost everything, even using Leiden technology, even using stem cell to print bio product. Example, what they have done is basically currently we are working with a private company leading the bioprinting industry, where we are talking about printing heart organ printing. So this is something that's going to be very, very hot. And of course, it's going to be the medical industry, it's going to be the healthcare industry. And you imagine the next 10 years, what's going to happen in the market. This is a very, very huge industry. Imagine you're talking about space exploration now. Imagine that you're in space, how are you going to get organ transplant where limited of people up there and so on. So imagine all those things will come into the picture. So there's so many things that's going to pop out in the market. Talking about facilities, you talk about libraries, a heart of the university where everybody combined together, everybody is there, where you're learning, your knowledge is always the heart of the university. And if you want to get those information out, that's where you're going to get it. And this 7-story, amazing architecture, just captured your, just immerse. When I was there, I was just like, I just don't leave the place, you know, I just want to be there. Yeah, it is what we say. We try to be a sticky campus where we try to stick all the students on the campus and not leaving the campus. Imagine if you cannot find your books in the 7-story space at UTS, where you can find them? Right under this garden. Under this garden, we basically store up to 1 million books underground. It is a robotic system where there's only two of this system in Australia, and UTS is one of them. You just key into the computer, order, the robot will go underground, take the book, and send it back to the collection area. Yeah. And I was very lucky. I managed to enter this area when they were launching the product. So it was amazing. It was many years back when I actually managed to get into this space. And looking at the library, looking at the system, it's just awesome. Everything is censored by the robots and so on. So look forward to it. And this is something that your student definitely will wow, and they will tell you, that's what we are looking for. Yeah, UTS is really not only the word technology, but we really apply technology across the learning facilities. Just like example of our law degree, we have basically a technology law major for you to specialize in. Imagine the amount of the cyber crime in the market. Who can fight the case for you? UTS lawyers. Yes, so this is something that you can actually look at. The technology law as one of the major that you can actually look into. And today I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the business school, because business school has a lot of new things that's coming out. And of course, the next one will be the communication school as well. So when we talk about business school, we basically has been an award-winning university, not only in the areas of study, also in the QS. We are the first business school in Australia who have the award of 5-star QS business school. And that's something that you look at. Why business school is unique and how we actually bring the industry into the classroom. And that's all the thing that you have to know today. So example of what accreditation that you actually will be able to get when you study at UTS Business School. And the most important thing is that all these areas where you talk about specialization, RE, CPAs, CHIPS, PASIA, so everything, AACSB, we have all that at UTS. So these are things that you need to look at, tell your students that we actually do that. What is in Bachelor of Business? A lot of people still are not sure, because as usual, all business degree, all university has business degree. And what makes UTS different from the rest of the university? That's something that you have to look at. So when you talk about business degree, a lot of universities still are very rigid and very traditional in a way that is non-flexibility. In UTS Business School, we talk about one important thing, flexibility. The choice of flexibility is amazing at UTS. How are you going to do it? How are you going to achieve it? That is the most key areas that you have to look at. When you talk about the flexibility and the internship, the development of professional capability in the industry, and how you're going to expand yourself into the market is so important. When you talk about all the areas of internship, when you talk about all this Deloitte, these are some of the partners, just a little bit of the point that you actually just to show you how we actually send our students across the market. When I talk about Deloitte, a lot of people say, are you sure? Yes. Basically, when we work with one company, we work from A to Z of the company. We don't only work on one department. So at UTS, across the university, even FEIT, Faculty of Engineering and IT, is working with Deloitte, not only in the business school. So a lot of things that we are looking at is across the market. So that is something that you're looking at. When I think about flexibility, a lot of people think of what do you mean by flexibility? Well, when I talk about flexibility, the important part of the business school is that you can mix and match not only things in the business school, you can actually mix and match something outside of the business school. And that is very, very important. So at UTS, the always important is that the first 8 subject is always the core area. When you talk about the core area, you focus on the traditional area where you talk about a little bit of economic, little bit of finance, little bit of basically accounting, and you basically have a little bit of statistics. That will be your first eight subjects. But then you need to specialize in something, right? So you can actually do the first major. The first major will comprise of compulsory major subject, which is 8 subjects. This 8 subject will get you a business degree. So what happens is that you can actually have an accounting degree, you can have a management degree, you can have an economic degree in the compulsory section. But then the next thing, nowadays, as I mentioned earlier, market has changed tremendously. A lot of people say, how do I mix and match? How do I cater for a specific industry? How do I market myself different from other people? Well, that's where you come in. And that's where the business school comes in. You see, example, if let's say I want to be someone who focus on engineering industry or an IT industry, but I prefer business mindset. I want to do something related to IT world. but I do not want to be an IT specialist. I just want to know a little bit of IT so I can talk to the people in the IT industry. But I want to focus on business. So I want to do management consulting. I want to do IT. I can actually add them into my sub-major. I can do 4 subjects in that. I can do 4 subjects in IT. I can do 4 subjects in basically even in management consulting or even other areas, even in design. I can actually do that. Let's say example, a lot of people say, I think that I want to have specialization in both areas. You can do that. You can have the first degree, the first major in business, the second major in IT. You can also do that. You can even do business law in the second major. So that is the flexibility. You can, if let's say I say that I can't even make up my mind what I want to do. You can even do a 1 sub-major with 4 elective or 8 elective. That means you can pick any subject from anywhere in the campus. That's uniqueness. You can pick some from here, some from there, from different faculty to combine and end up with your 8 subjects. So you have 144 credits at the end of your 3 years degree. So that's how flexible it is. And imagine that suddenly a lot of people say, I sometimes, honestly, if you ask me, or you ask a Form 5 student, or you ask a person who just finished an A level, what is your dream? What is your areas of specialization you want to do? Not every single student can tell you that. I know as a counselor, you have that challenge too. Because, and then what you can do is that you can just advise the closest to what they want. And when they say that they want marketing, then of course, then you just push the marketing subject. But what if when they arrive on campus and then the marketing is not what they want? It's not their cup of tea. How are they going to move on? Well, that's where you can actually tell them at UTS is flexible. Imagine that you start with initial, you plan to do marketing. But then when you enter the marketing subject, it's a no for the student. They can actually shift that particular subject that they have done at the marketing into a sub-major or an elective subject, and they can replace their major. That's what we call flexibility. And when you talk about that, when you graduate, imagine that all your classmates, all of you have different sub-major and different areas of specialization. And when you go for interview, you can be colleague, you are not competitor, because everybody is different from everyone. So that's the specialization. That's the flexibility that you can actually look in. So in terms of Bachelor of Management, we focus on creative industry, we focus on what we call digital space, sports, and many other areas as well. So when we talk about management, we have a lot of areas where we focus on practical, industry practical. Those are the areas that we work at. We work with City of Sydney. And you know that UTS program for bachelor degree of business, whether it's management, whether it's Bachelor of Business, all the degree, a lot of students will ask one question: do you have internship? Well, because of the way UTS teach at UTS, all the subject has a lot of component of presentation, a lot of component of delivering their message and collaborative with the industry during their studies, to the extent that some students say, I might not want to do an internship. So internship is available for all students, but it's optional for the student. They choose whether they want to go for the professional internship or the internship that they want to go for. So we do have all the partners ready, but it's just a student need to go through whether they think, is it enough or should I do more? So that's up to the student to decide if they want to go for more. Okay. And just take note, for the Bachelor of Management, the subject for Bachelor of Tourism has been removed due to COVID-19. I think they have removed because of the situation is not open up for everyone at the moment. So that particular program had temporarily have been removed. So Bachelor of Management covered only 3 particular areas: event management, sport management, and also the digital creative enterprise. So those are the areas that you can actually look at. It is already enough and amazing. Okay, you can do majors as well. That's something that you have to look into. And for people who are looking at entrepreneur and those who are areas where they're already very strong in the industry, they have their own business. We have this new executive MBA, EMBA. This EMBA has 3 streams with 2 pathways. And it's a very flexible program where it's only 1.5 years. Then people start asking me the question, do they meet the criteria for the post-study work visa? Of course it's not, because they already have their own business in their home country. So this is someone who wants to achieve another level of qualification and they just want to get an EMBA. So this one is a 1.5-year program with a very flexibility where depend on the people who whether they want to look into areas of what we call entrepreneurship, or they actually look at leading in technological disruption or what we call corporate transformation. They want to increase or improve their company by itself. So they come into this 1.5-year program. They can do partially at their home and they can actually do partially on campus. So that is a program that you have to look into. Check out the module and you will see more details on the handbook later. I'll share the link, or Siska will share the link of the handbook on the chat that you can actually look into it. And so you can actually see more details and how you actually achieve the program. 1.5 year and you get the EMBA. So this is a very exciting program. It's a lot of practical involvement. There's some component you can do at home, some component that you have to be on campus to do it. So this is something that a lot of, because business people who are already having their business on hand, they don't have full time that can actually study on campus. So 1.5 year with partially online, partially on campus, that is the most important area for them. And when we also have the new MBA, and this new MBA is basically focused on the area of flexibility as well. So we have a 6 core subject plus 6 core in major, and then we can even do a sub-major and elective, or you can actually do sub-major with sub-major plus elective plus or another 6 elective. So you can see how flexible is it. Imagine that you want to do an MBA with a specialization, technology management example, and then you say that maybe I want to do a little bit of management consulting at the end of the sub-major. You can actually do that. So you can combine different sector of your specialization in your MBA. So you have an MBA in the specialization area with sub-major. So you can see that how flexible is that. And because a lot of students, when they come to MBA, they are hesitant. Should I just do MBA by itself? Or should I have a specialization? Well, in UTS, you can have more than that. You have a specialization plus sub-major. That means another way, you have 2 specialization area, a major plus sub-major. That is something that you can actually leverage on. And of course, it will improve and increase the availability and also the level of the students' knowledge at the same time. So I always tell the student, you can actually focus on so many areas. You have so many areas from operations, supply chain, to human resource, to MPA, and so many other areas as well. If you do an MBA in professional accounting, it is still recognized under the CPAS. Yeah, so this is something that you can actually look out for your students if they are interested into the area. So sometimes when you look at this particular specialization choosing, you can actually see how you can actually combine your specialization. Some people just want to expand. Some people say, I want to do in human resource management, but at the same time, I want to do a little bit of IT. You can do the major in human resource management and sub-major in IT. So you do 4 subjects in IT. So you will be able to be very strong in all around the areas. And talking to the Faculty of Business just this week, we realized that actually Australia has been expanding tremendously in their economy, in their population, and also a lot of other sectors. And we found out that actually in 2024, there is actually a statistic saying that there will be a shortage of people who are focusing on financial analysis or financial planning. So what we look at is that this will be a very good program, Master of Finance and Master of Financial Analysis, which is a combined degree. This is a double degree that you can actually look into it, and something that students can actually focus into it, and it focus covered all rounded, and it is still recognized under the CFA, FinCET, and CAIA as well. So this is a 2-year program where you can actually look into. That is something that students have to look into, and if they are looking into the financial industry. And being said so, that is a high demand in the future market, especially starting from 2024, according to the Business School Survey. So look at that area. And supply chain management, Master of Supply Chain Management, this is also recognized under the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. And we are actually ranked 25 globally, and also the #1 and top 2 course in Asia. So in terms of QS as well. So you can look into this program. And due to this COVID-19, supply chain has been an amazing industry. It pops up everywhere, and this is something that you have to look into. When you talk about supply chain, you talk about everything from, imagine your home country or international market and so on. So this is another area where people will look into. And a lot of people still look at the traditional side of the supply chain. I'm not sure whether are you following a lot in terms of the space technology. I have been a very a person who focus a lot in terms of the space announcement. And what will happen is that Australia is also part of the Artemis program, where there is a lot of topic in terms of space exploration. And starting from last year, when they announced the Artemis program, there is so much, so many project that is going on. And starting from last year, there is already a lot of human resource and also sourcing for new working. There's about 30,000 working opportunity, new career that's coming out for that particular industry. And they already start out all the supply chain because they are aiming to arrive the touchdown in Mars in 2034. So there's so many projects that's going on, and UTS are also involved in some of them. Like example, the engineering school has already a few projects. I think there's two that I can announce. One is basically there's a robot project, that there's a robot arm that collaborate with Stardust in Canada, and also the Japan Japan, what do you call it, space exploration group, to come out with this rover with a robot hand where we have camera and can actually do things arriving in behind the moon. So they'll be building a base in the moon before they actually go to the Mars and so on. So there's so many projects that's going on, and the supply chain that is going on in that particular sector is just amazing. So looking at that particular area, a lot of people think of the traditional. Actually, I look at the future. So there's so much supply chain market in that particular sector itself. So that's something that you can actually tell your student as well. Sometimes it's not only focusing on the earth, but also in the space. So that is area that you can look at. And more exciting thing coming from the Faculty of Art and Social Science. We have launched, and of course, we also have new title for the program. We have basically a program called Writing and Publishing. And this has replaced the program called Creative Writing previously. And a lot of people say, why writing and publishing? So this one tells you very straightforward, it's a writing and publishing, and you can actually focus on so much industry in that particular sector. Yeah, from teaching to all the way to your publishing in magazine and so on. So there's a huge industry covered in that particular sector. And most important, we talk about strategic communication. A lot of people say, hey, where's your public relation and advertising degree? That's where it is. The strategic communication has replaced the area of advertising and public relations subject. So when you talk about strategic communication, it covers both areas. So this time you actually covered two areas without choosing which one you want to go into. You basically covered both sectors, and it actually helps you to enhance more areas in terms of the campaign, in terms of social media strategies and so on. You actually covered all the areas. And we even have a master in strategic communication and executive master of strategic communication as well. There's so many new things that are popping out in the market. And another area is media business. This is an area where a lot of people want to work in the industry of media, but at the same time, they are not good in their writing, or they're not good in their proposal and all that. So the strategy, how to build the business from the media side. So you come into this media business, this is really, really a good program that is launched. And all these degrees, you can actually go into a double major. So it is very exciting for all the students. And so many students actually love the strategic communication program because it is really, really good in the industry. And that's something that your student would definitely want to go into. And of course, at the same time, sometimes when you look at this title, you actually also can tell your student how they can actually leverage very strongly in terms of combining the program. So like example, someone who really want to work in the government sector, they want to work in and then at the same time, they are involved in the areas of like journalism. So imagine if you are a journalist and you want to focus specific on the political side, you can actually combine journalism as your main major, and your second major that you can actually focus on social political science. With that, right, you basically can be a specialist in that particular sector of journalism. So you basically plan out your market strength. You basically plan out your character on how to achieve all these areas by doing the combination of program that you are looking at. So that is actually very important when you're actually able to see how to combine the program. So when I talk to students, normally I spend about 2 hours just to go through all the program combination that they can do. So they can imagine what they can become at the end of the day. That's where they can think. That's where I can actually get my program and my journey, and that's where my future lies. So that is very, very important. So you see, you can actually combine journalism with digital and social media with now all the news. Can you just ask yourself how many of you are still reading newspaper and traditional model? Very, very, very mild. We actually look at digital news most of the time. And that is why if you combine journalism and digital and social media, you can actually come up with platform, you can actually come up with ideas on how to publish your thing and capture market attention and how you can see all those areas. And we talk about media production and writing and publishing. Basically, people who are doing script writing, people who are doing all the proposal for the movie production and all that. Wow, that's where you can actually combine together and you can become a producer where you can actually write your own proposal. You can actually write all your own script writing for your actor and so on. So yeah, those are areas that you can imagine. And this combination actually is quite fun because if let's say imagine you talk about political always have issue of saying something wrong or saying something right. And strategic communication is someone who exponential the message or reduce it until it's softened until there's nothing left. So when you talk about strategic communication, advertising, and public relations, that's where they come into whether the exponential, the magic of the message across, or they actually silence the thing and go nothing. So their specialization is in that sector. Of course, when you talk about this social political science and strategic communication, it's like a best marriage of each other. So that is something that you can look into and you can imagine. You just combine and you imagine the industry and you can tell your student, and that's where we have all the program ready for the student. And most important, we actually prepare all the students with able to do double major and also the professional internship if they want to choose the internship. So it's always optional internship at UTS because the program is already very heavy in terms of industry partners coming into the class, sitting with you, talking with you and giving you the case study for you to solve the problem for them. And the latest add-on to the Faculty of Art and Social Science basically is the animation production. This one has already moved house from the design school to the class, okay? So animation production, this is an area where we talk about, when you talk about communication, it is actually part of the communication. When you talk about today's world, all this social media, all this movie production, all this, the latest movie like the what do you call that, Peter Rabbit, or you talk about the areas of specialization in this sector. This is where we come into visual FX, we come into all that, and that's where the animation production. And students who continue finishing their bachelor degree in animation production, you have a chance to join basically our Master of Animation and Visualization, where they are the specialists, where we work with UTS Animal Logic, where if you search for Animal Logic, who are they? That's the most important. You need to find who is UTS Animal Logic and who is Animal Logic by itself. Of course, it's not the zoo, okay? Yeah. So they are basically the animator that has done so many movies that you watch on your movie. Example like Marvel's movie, example like Peter Rabbit, example like Hunger Game, Happy Feet, and Lego movie too. All this is their production, especially the visual FX side. That means the animation side. So they are the person behind. And where are they located? And when they combine with UTS, they actually based inside UTS. So students that actually finish their bachelor degree from the animation production can continue additional 1 more year with the master degree, and you can actually join the professional in the industry teaching you on the final year of your master degree. And it's going to be 1 year with 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, just like working with the group of professionals in the industry. And then you will produce movies, the industry, and after that, you connect to the industry. That's how you actually lay out your plan for animation. So these are things that you can, And a lot of people say, can I join the animation degree and master degree without animation degree? Yes, you can. You can come from visual communication, you can come from IT, you can come from many sectors, as long as you are able to contribute to that particular production. But of course, the best production line would be the animation production leading to master of animation visualization. So that would be one area that you can look at. This covers all areas from storyboard to conceptual artist to there's so many areas that you'll be doing in this particular area. And imagine it's part of the communication, sending across the message. That's why it's under the communication school. So it's so important. Okay. So I was just going to skip this. This already I'll show you earlier. What is the strategic communication covering areas and so on. Writing publish what they are going to. I'm going to send this slide out. You can actually have this after whoever who have registered for the event. I'm going to send this slide to you so you can actually check it out and see how it goes. Now, Bachelor of Sustainable and Environment. This is another area that is hot in the whole world. Okay, this is one area where everybody talking about sustainable. Who doesn't want sustainable nowadays? Who doesn't want environmental cleaning and all the time? And we are talking about what do you call it? The climate issue. Well, now this is the time. If let's say your students are interested, this is not a standalone degree. It is a combined degree, meaning that any student who do a Bachelor of Business, Bachelor of Health Science, Bachelor of Management, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Economy, they can combine their degree with another additional year. And they do the Bachelor of Business with Bachelor of Sustainable and Environment, Bachelor of Health Science with Sustainable and Environment. So this is going to be a double degree. You cannot find this as a standalone program. It is a must to combine the degree. With the current situation, a lot of people are looking at this particular degree, and we would like to offer them as a combined degree. So when you have your students who are interested in this area, tell them this is going to be a good program that you're going to go into. And if you look at UTS history and all their areas of coverage and what we do in the science sector and the health sector, it is all about the sustainable. Even all our buildings are sustainable buildings. They are 5-star green building, 6-star green building. All these are what we do is that UTS is a university who walk the talk. So we apply technology, we apply all these areas into our university facilities and environment. Then it is a very good way to bring the message across and how students can apply their learning into practical at the end of the day. So this is a degree that you have to focus on as well. Okay, Bachelor of Sustainable and Environment is a combined degree, it doesn't stand alone. Okay, it's going to be another hip and hot program that's coming out in 2022. So look it out, check it out, and make sure you get your student into it. If let's say and if you're not sure how to go about it, check with Cisca, check with the team in Australia, check with the team that is taking care of this program. They will focus and help you to advise the student on how to achieve this particular program. So it's going to be good. Wow, this one is another hot one as well. So talking about criminology, nowadays there's so many crime in the world, right? From digital crime to human crime, and there's so many touch, law enforcement, and these are the career that the student can actually enter. I know criminology is not a common topic anymore. It has been existed in so many universities in Australia, but I'm going to tell you, this is brand new at UTS, and the way we design the program is just amazing as well. So what we're going to focus on is we have a specialization focusing areas, and I'll show you the subjects later that you can actually do specialization in 2 sectors, or you can actually do in another 3 different areas of specialization plus a sub-major. So, and bring this program up. Basically, we bring the best in the industry for the student. And being UTS, we always do that. We try to bring the best people in the industry to come and guide the student and bring you. If you check on UTS website, you will see all our working partners or our industry collaborator or all our adjunct professors are tip-top in the market, tip-top in the industry. They will come in and advise the student and how to design the program or how to get into the industry so that they can reach the target market that they want. So you see, we get the top crime science academic in Australia, in UK, to be the UTS leading professor by basically leading the particular degree itself. So this is one thing that you can actually share with your students. The next thing is like, who is the person behind? You see, we actually appointed the New South Wales police leader as an industry professor, the person that solved the crime, the person that on the ground, the person who do the work, and they actually are your industry professor, giving you the case study, giving you all the item, all the way how you actually learn and how you actually practice and how you actually solve the issue. So these are things that you actually look at UTS. So these are areas where you actually can talk to students. These are topics that you can actually share with students. These are all news. And how to get to all this news? Actually, if you follow our UTS, I understand for agents to follow, it's going to be challenging for you. But this is actually at our UTS newsroom. Okay, we have a newsroom that we publish almost every week, every month. There's so many news that we have there, and we have so many industry partners news that we publish and how we work with the industry. I just pulled out, this is from 29th of July, this is from 15th of October, and that's how we look at it. So the next area that is a combined degree is going to be a Bachelor of International Study. It no longer stand alone as it is. It's going to be combined with the rest of the other program. We have like more than 28 degrees that we can combine with the international studies, where you can go across the world to do your additional program and many other areas as well. So we have even 6 different languages that you actually can cover. And of course, if you do the Bachelor of Business, you can also do that international study as standalone as a sub-major by itself. So, but if you want to have a degree, a double degree by itself, it's going to be a combined degree, no longer standalone as a Bachelor of International Study, because we realize that you need to have a degree by itself. It's going to be hard for the student. And what happens is when you combine a degree and international study, it actually enhances the capability of the student and also the outreach of the student to reach the market, especially for the employment as well. So that is something that you have to look at. And another area that you want to look into is the teaching degree. A lot of students, a lot of Southeast Asian students or people who say that I want to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher. How am I going to achieve that? Oh, that is something that now you can do that. And of course, it's always the challenging one. The next question you're going to ask me, what's the IELTS requirement since I can come in for the bachelor degree? Well, the question is, you need to hit the 7.5 and 8, 7.5 overall in the IELTS and 8 in the listening and speaking. So that is the criteria for the Master of Teaching. And this is going to be a combined degree as well. You do a Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Communication, Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Business, Bachelor of Economics, combined, matched together with a Master of Teaching. So it's additional 1 year. So it's a 4-year program and you graduate with a Master of Teaching in secondary education. So this program, I think, is going to be a hit in the market as well. So do check out this area. If students who say that I want to be a teacher, now you can actually do a Bachelor of Business with Master of Teaching, Bachelor of Economy with Master of Teaching, Bachelor of Science with Master of Teaching, Bachelor of Communication with Master of Teaching. So this is the area that you're going to focus on. So it's going to be a 4-year degree, except for engineering, it's going to be a 4.5 years degree, and you can actually basically finish up with a teaching degree. Bear in mind, it's not Bachelor of Engineering Honors, yeah? It's Bachelor of Engineering only, yeah? So I believe it is going to be a 3-year plus 1, I double check for the engineering, whether it's an honors degree, I forgot to ask this question. So yeah, the rest of it is going to be a 4-year program, except for this one, they said 4.5 years program. So I believe it's an honors degree as well. So yeah, so this is something that you have to look into. And yeah, I believe that is the end of the slide for today. So yes, if let's say you have any question, please feel free to ask your question now. And yeah, and we will try to answer as much as possible. Yeah, thank you for your time, really. So any question, if you are shy to ask, you can actually pop it into the chat box. If not, then you can always up on your mic and you can ask the question if you have the question.
Oh, Benny, adding the Bachelor of Engineering and the teaching Master of Teaching is Bachelor of Engineering Studies, not honors.
Yes, studies. So it's 3 years. Yeah. There's a 3 years engineering degree. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I missed the international study. It's still a combined degree. Yes, the international study now is a combined degree. So it is basically basically it's only available in combined degree, no longer as a standalone. Previously, we still have a standalone, but now it's 100% on combined degree only. Yeah. Thanks, Siska. Yep. Any other question from the group?
Hello, Penny. I have a question about the backing from bachelor degree from master of teaching. So when the student finish the bachelor degree, how many years when the student refer to the master, 1 year or 2 years?
No, it's basically together. So they actually study together. It's a combined degree. It's just like a double degree. So they actually start the program together. So when they start the Bachelor of Business, 2 semesters, they will do the Bachelor of Business. The 3rd semester, which is the summer, they actually do the Master of Teaching. So by the end of their 4 year, they actually get 2 degrees. One is basically bachelor degree in something and Master of Teaching in secondary education. So they actually get 2 degrees in 4 years' time. Oh, yeah, that's why I said it's going to be a hot program. A lot of people will love this program. So that is something that we have to start pushing into the market, and definitely there will be a lot of students who are really, really interested in teaching. This is one way that they can shorten their time and they can actually get their master degree. The only challenge is the entry requirement, which is the IELTS requirement, where they have to start with a very high IELTS entry.
Yep.
Other than that, it's fine.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I always say that there's no question that is not good. Every single question is good. So regardless what you want to ask, just ask. That's where we actually will cross-learn from each other. That's how UTS teach as well. We are a practical-based university. We work across the university. We work across the team. We ask a lot of questions. And when students have a question, they always do what? Ask uts.edu.au. So that is how we actually look at that. Yeah. So yes. Any questions so far? If there's no question, I'm going to give this group another 5 minutes. Okay. If there's no question, I'm going to close this room. Yeah. So I will still. So those who have registered for this particular session, I will definitely send out the what they call that, this slide to everybody, and make sure that you are also on our WhatsApp group for the updates. So Siska can actually continue to update you all. And yeah, any other question?
Hey Benny, because the English entry for the combined degree with the teacher, with the teaching degree is so high. So do you have the early course before?
Well,
for international students.
I think that's why I said it's going to be a very challenging program, because one thing that you have to understand is that the student, if they're really, really interested in this area, they will have to buck up and really, really ready for their English level. So it's just like example, like nursing. So people who are interested in nursing degree, they definitely have to prepare themselves for the 7.0 overall for every single area. So now, if they really want to go into teaching, there will be students who are really, really good in that area. So they have trained themselves from young. So I think this is something that we can actually send the message across. Hopefully they are really, really good students that can come into this one. And you have to take note as well, because when they are doing the Master of Teaching, their component of learning, actually they are practicing in our partner schools. So they are actually teaching the domestic people. So can you imagine that if, let's say, their English is not good, so how are they going to be able to graduate? So that is the challenge. So for those who will really, really want to go for that, this is the pathway, and you really save a lot of time. Yeah. So I think this is a very good one. So if you have the student, push it, okay? Get them ready. Tell them they have time to prepare themselves. Yeah, so that's how they're gonna achieve it. Yeah.
Thank you. So how about the scholarship from MBA program?
Okay. Basically, I'm not sure whether all you attended the scholarship session that has been going on the last 2 days. What happened is that we actually have quite a number of scholarship that is popping up. So if, let's say, you look at this UTS in scholarship for international students. So it is always the first one under the essential. And you go into it, basically there's a long list of scholarship. I'll just post this link there so that everybody can actually check it out. We already published it. All the one that's been announced has already published. And most important in Southeast Asia or Hong Kong and Taiwan or Malaysia or Vietnam or Indonesia. So this is something good news for everyone. Basically, all these countries, we do have our secondary program that is recognized for direct entry to UTS. If they have the direct entry to UTS and if they didn't meet the 25% cutoff or the UTS Undergraduate Academic Excellence International Scholarship 25% cutoff, if they don't meet this, automatically they will fall under this category, under the undergraduate tuition fee scholarship, which is the new one. You can see the new word. Every one of them will get a 20% standard cost duration tuition fee. So you can imagine that every one of your students that's starting next year will get this if, let's say, they don't meet the 25%. So just an example for example for Vietnam cases. So the Vietnam student, if let's say, I know a lot of them will go for SAT, okay, even though they are non-gifted high school. So if they are coming from a non-gifted high school, normally they have to go through UTS college if they want to, right? Now, this is the chance. If they do take SAT, and if their SAT score didn't meet the 25% cutoff, they will be categorized under the 20% scholarship for the total study period. So that is something that you can look forward to, and all your students will have the 4 years 20% scholarship or 3 years 20% scholarship for the total study period. So that is something that you can actually focus on. Okay, for the MBA scholarship, let me double check. Veronica, do you remember the MBA scholarship? Is it falls under the same category as well? Just hold on, yeah. Let's double check.
No, I don't think so. Let me double check.
Yep. Okay, so if you look into the postgraduate, yeah, the MBA, there will be a 20% postgraduate business scholarship. Yes. So students who don't meet the cutoff for the MBA, now they actually will get a 20% scholarship as well for the MBA. Yeah, as long as they are under the business and engineering faculty, they will get the postgraduate business the scholarship, the 20% scholarship. Yeah, so that is starting offering from 2022 as well. So this is the new scholarship that is out at the same time. So yes, answering your question for the MBA, yes, there's a 20% scholarship for your student if they meet the criteria to join UTS.
Yes, thank you so much. I really love your presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, I also love everybody's participation as well. Yeah. So and let me see. Yeah. Okay. Yes. This guy has posted up the criteria for the yeah. So important. And one more thing to take note, every one of you who have students who are still joining us, because the borders is opening up, but not 100% for every single student to return yet. It currently is on the selected basis. Okay, it's on by the expression of interest, and then if they meet the criteria, they will be coming back by batches. So for those who are still studying online, you still eligible to take the minimum subject if they want to. And I'm not sure whether you know, or some of you might not remember, that you can actually tell your student again that they actually can take minimum subject if they are not on scholarship. At the same time, if they accidentally fail the subject during their studies with UTS, they can actually retake the subject again without repayment and without their program, the GPA impacted. So this is something that they can continue study at UTS. So not an issue. Okay, just make sure that they actually continue their program accordingly. And if let's say there's any other question, please feel free to pop it out, or else I will